Folks, everybody needs a little help once in a while.
Well, we're setting up right here, folks. This has got the table we're going to put it on. And Darren chose this side of the house and because it had chicken. I think that's why he did it. He likes chicken. Oh. All right, Darren. He went into the bedroom. He had his safety glasses in there. I said, well, you need to go get them. He said, well, I get them all scratched up and dirty and
Well,
everything.
keep them all safe. The safety glasses, right?
Kind of like my coat in the wintertime. I leave it in the closet so it stays, crisp and pressed.
It always says brand new.
Yeah, you never wear them out. You start wearing those things, you wear them out.
Just wear them out.
Just trying to help you out.
And I'm going to be using an angle grinder with a cutting wheel. So I am going to wear my safety glasses. I learned that the hard way by having to get something pulled out of my eye. So we learned from that mistake anyway.
I think your wife said you were looking at other girls as well.
And it just took out that eye. That might have been it.
That's what it was.
And what's bad is I was cutting through something. It was just one. It was wire. I had to cut through just like a couple pieces. And I was like, man, by the time I find them, I'll already be done. And I regretted it for about a month.
So you're advising people to
wear the safety glasses. Anytime you're using a cutoff wheel, it's dumb not to. I was dumb when I did.
You really should wear a coat when it's 42 below zero.
You ought to. All right. These, you may have seen from another video, are receiver hitches.
Now, what are we doing with those?
Oh, well, the first thing, of course, we're cutting off the good end.
We're kind of wondering about that, Darren. Why would you cut?
Why would you get a good thing and then cut it? Well,
it's got a lot of nice things on it.
To be honest, we already had them, and we're gonna hook up the C channel or the unistrut. They call a bunch of stuff, but we're gonna connect the two legs with this, and we'll show you what that's gonna look like in a minute. Hopefully,
I counted 3 on a tripod. That's just me. You said
1 per leg.
Oh.
All right, so now we're going to try to cut it right before the weld. Hopefully that's going to be the same
I mean, why
distance.
Are you putting the 2 of them together? You didn't explain that.
Height. We made the 10-foot one, and we'll show you in a minute or before, depending on how we edit. The one our first prototype we've been using for about 2-3 years now, and it's up across on the other side of the house, and we'll show you that.
Okay, folks, we are going to look at the original tripod. We're going to take a little trip here down Snowy Lane. Yes, it did come a 2-inch snow in Oklahoma. Here's the tripod that we're going to add the extra feet to.
Right now I'm using it to string up and see on this one we put in 2 and a crank. The rope, you might have noticed, maybe needed some work.
There's some tightening, looks like needed there too. I'm just thinking.
Well, and nothing wrong against it. It's done great. I just need to give it a little bit of TLC and some maintenance.
That's what we're talking about, folks. That is a 10-foot tripod that has no welding in it, and it has only bolts to put it together. You can find all the parts at Home Depot. It's not something you got to weld together or anything like that. You can get all that from Home Depot and Harbor Freight.
About to say, I've used it to, I've pulled stumps with it. I've butchered animals with it. That's what it was up for last time. Picked things up that needed to put in like a 2-wheeler or something. Got stuff out of the ground. Got stuff that stuck out of the ground. It's come in really handy.
Well,
so we're thinking about putting legs on it and making it 20 feet.
Folks,
and what we're going to do with it is we're going to extend its legs. It's already 10 foot tall. Yeah, probably 9.5 or so with the angles. But we're going to put 20 feet of leg on each leg. That made sense. To raise it up closer to 20 feet. And we're going to do that for other videos you'll see soon.
Okay, so we got already a 10-foot leg on it, and you're adding another 10 foot. And these shackles, or whatever we're going to call them anyway.
We're going to use them as connecting.
These are going to be connecting. Folks, the reason I bought those for him, and I went and looked at the ones that put those electrical struts together, and they were too weak. These were $11.99 at Harbor Freight, and the ones they wanted that wouldn't work were $14.99, $15, and they were too weak. So I said, okay, I've got a brilliant idea. Darren said it was his. That if we just cut the end off, we'd have the same amount of investment in them, and we could put two of them together. And I assure you that is thick, folks. And the other material they were selling to put them together was thinner.
You'd almost think that they weren't making tripods out of them.
Now, I just don't understand that. Sometimes we have to explain that to Home Depot personnel to understand why you would use an electrical strut to make a tripod. They don't understand the importance of that. And the guy was an electrician that was helping me.
And he didn't understand it.
He said, this is plenty strong. I said, for a 10,000 pound lift tripod? He said, we've never made one out of them.
Said, I don't know if that's recommended.
Really lightweight wire in there.
All right, so I'm about to use the angle grinder. So all of our friends are using headphones. Turn them up way loud.
I think he's being facetious. I think that word is. I've used that once before.
I've used it. I don't know if I used it right.
Go through.
I think I did. Maybe a touch more right there. And what I'm going to do is, you'll probably not see all of it, but I'm going to cut a line, flip it, cut a line, flip it. Instead of trying to cut through one side, I figure I might get a little bit willy wonky with that. So I'm going to just make sure I'm cut all the way through and then move on to the next one.
Well, Darren, I guess you're going to have to take that down, and I'm going to have to watch. I just hate having to hold this
heavy camera while I'm doing this.
I think I could lift this heavy camera if you can actually lift it.
Can't hear all these mean insults now.
Okay, what it is, he's going to lift that, guys, and take it around the side of the house. But folks, this is not your grandma's tripod. Of course, my grandma, maybe it would be. I'm not sure. Okay, and he's going to get back to grinding over here. So he's got his weapon, and he put his ear protectors on, folks. I only yelled and screamed at him to do that.
Huh?
That's what he said. I think he's getting some extra pipes there, folks. Extra channels, rather. Those are the new ones we're going to put at the bottom of that.
The new leg extensions. So I figured what we should do before I cut them all is let's make sure they fit. We know it fits on this side. We don't know if it fits on that side. We had to get a little creative last time to get them on. But with this one, we may have to get more creative. So I'm going to get a tool to put these on with.
I have an idea. On one of those drill motors, is that a sander? You might go on the inside of that.
I think you're right. All right, now let me go grab a tool to help ensure it goes on.
Okay, it looks like he's got some equipment there that could make bodily harm to something.
Possibly. Oh. Wise guy. There we go. Looks like it'll go in pretty easy. Since I did that one, let's go ahead and put on the full cap on the other side. Why not?
Okay, this is folks, this is what we're going to put on the bottom. This is what we were talking about in muddy areas, or where you want to stake it out, where the base of it doesn't spread out. That has a little ring in it that you can put a stake through. So we're going to use the same thing, put them together, and we're going to use the same thing that we used at the top and the middle and the bottom now. Folks, if this is well maintained, it's probably a lifetime product. So yes, it's a little bit more. If you do it right the first time, you don't have to worry about it. Okay, this is leg number 2. He's going to make some more noise. Okay, folks, I believe he's got the second leg down there. I heard the ground catch it again. That gravity is so important. I tell you what, I think that's the best thing we ever brought, is that little sander right there.
Yeah. And I think I'm just going to switch blades.
He's using switchblades. You heard him, folks.
It's kind of like that one. So we have one. The wind's horrible. If we don't keep everything down, it'll blow away.
The neighbors like some of your stuff. You send them.
Some of the neighbor stuff I end up getting, they seem to, we share.
The mailman must have fun. He just throws the letters in the air and they
Vaguely, and that kind of spreads everywhere. All right, let's go ahead and cut this last one, then we'll be done with that. Then we can start assembling.
He's going to become an assemblyman, that's what he said. I think that's a government office in some states.
It might have been that I was actually doing my safety stuff right and I had it unplugged when I was changing out the blade. Look at that.
Folks, you can't use one when you have it unplugged, so you might want to remember that.
You got to be a lot more patient.
But you don't have a high electric bill. All right, he's fixing up the last touches on that. And the gravity got the other one, too, on the ground.
It's 100% successful, that gravity.
Yeah, we've never, out here in Oklahoma, our gravity is 100%. We've never
I don't know about the gravity around you guys, but
I tell you what, it's not floated in the air once, and he's want to make you aware of that.
have not been lifted off the ground at any time.
We've not had to tie a rope to Darren at all. Well, a couple of winds came by, and I don't know, he's close. So I better not say too much. He might disappear in one of those clouds.
About to say, the wind's pretty good up here.
They call it tornadoes sometimes.
All right, so now we have both the connectors and end of our leg. So it looks like I need to start bringing in some more legs over here.
Darren, what are you doing now? I just got to figuring this out.
I'm gonna take the feet, the old feet, off the original tripod.
Folks,
Let's
this
say.
is the messy part because that's been in the ground. Folks, we used a different kind of foot on the original one, and it was not as good as this new one, which we have behind us here. It was just stuck in the ground. But this new one, it's got the, we've cut this off, but it's got a ring on it that is actually not a ring. It's a D shape they sold me. But that would, you can put a stake right in the center of that. And when it's on the end of it like that on the foot, it's hooked on really good. And you've got a way to keep it from moving in soft ground, which we didn't have on the old design. And the old design, we put those dog leash clamps on it so that we could hook the chain to it. But the problem is you tripped over the chain. It was
It
dangerous.
was always in the way. I fell over, I don't know how many times. Little cardinal.
So what he's doing now is taking those off, and we don't recommend that design anymore. But we also got those parts at Harbor Freight.
And it did serve its purpose. It just, we think we have
dug
to
in the
improve it.
ground like it's supposed to, but it wasn't any good for hard surface. For the other one, you can use it for hard surface also by putting maybe a piece of an old tire on that, or you could use some sort of rubberized material, put a bolt through it right there, and you'd have something that would grip the hard surface also. In addition to soft ground, you could use it for hard surface. I think he's angry at that. I saw him hit it pretty hard. I don't know.
I was just convincing it.
And I put a rag on that for some reason. I don't know what the reason.
Actually, I know exactly why we put the rag on it. We took it from your house to my house.
I'll put a flag on it. But
put a
that was
flag.
red flag.
And
It's lost some of its color.
I never needed to do anything with it, so I just kept it on there.
Bad, go to a lot of extra trouble taking the red flag off.
Well, I figured I was going to be moving it somewhere anyway. All right, so just this one. We had one bolt going through it because, things don't fall up, so we didn't worry about it too much. And these seem to be coming out pretty easy.
He spoke too soon. No.
Well,
You're going to introduce it to the grinder?
easy. First time, easy every time.
That's a new kind of wrench you brought to,
The skinny
That
kind?
looked like a grinder instead of a wrench.
The puppy dogs don't need new feet, so let me keep them away. The height will be good, but it'll be a little heavier and a little more
You've got
awkward to
an
move around.
industrial strength tripod that, I've never seen one built like this. It's all bolts. There's no welding of any kind, and anybody with a few minor tools can do it.
As you can see, if we did it, anybody can do it.
Well, several of the comments mentioned the term idiot a couple of times, but I'm sure they were referring to you.
I'm sure they were.
But folks, we didn't disagree with any of that.
Well, I don't think we can, but hey, still mean.
I just put a like beside it for being observant,
Well, that means they really watched.
Yeah, they watched the program, or they wouldn't know we were idiots at the first place.
Because a lot of us people actually believe we know what we're doing at times.
I tell you what, we've got everybody fooled, I think. I thought he was going to cut it, folks. Pizza cake, pizza cake.
Pizza cake.
I don't even know who sells pizza cakes, but they say that's a good thing.
Get that warranty out. Wouldn't want anybody to believe that was valid.
They were going to sell me a longer term warranty on that, but I didn't think we'd need it.
Not if they would have saw what we were doing with it. That one.
See, that's the one I picked out for.
Was my friend. It went in real easy.
You mean they would, if I got the extended warranty, they wouldn't give me a refund if a large hog fell off of it?
I think if they saw it, they'd be like, well, and you did what with it?
The electrician at Home Depot had problems recommending things to me.
Well, I don't know exactly for your purpose. What would be the best one?
He just wouldn't want more whack on it, folks. He was just mad.
Probably was, honestly, but I was like, well, let's make sure.
Is that all of them?
We have done all the legs. We just need to connect one with the big guy.
The big guy here. This one we made, what, 3 years ago?
Yep.
And it has stood up to all kinds of abuse. And it's held up well. And he has not lifted the 10,000 pounds it's qualified to do. So we put a rope on there just for our safety, so it would break before something else did. And we've worn out the rope, but we have not broken it. And what he's looking for there is some nuts and bolts that I got from Ace Hardware. And I got a bunch of washers this time. Previously, I didn't buy enough washers.
Surprised you didn't say I forgot to tell you to get enough washers, but
Well, I was going to do that, and I thought, well, folks, they wouldn't probably believe it, so I've said it so many times. People think I pick on you. You know I don't. I always kind in every way.
we're dealing with a big metal rod, Pop. We probably don't want to threaten lightning.
You know,
Darren, you remember when you were a teenager, we called you Blister? You know why we called you Blister? Well, a blister is what shows up when all the work is done.
Yeah?
and that's why. Okay, folks, he's getting the washers out and the bolts and nuts out. He's going to do damage to this, it looks like, putting them together. Did I tell you about my grandpa tell me about down in Broken Bow that time?
My grandfather was telling me that in Broken Bow, Oklahoma, some city slickers from the city that never hunted before, I don't think, came out and they had an animal on the top of the hood of their car. And they drove it into a deer check station where they check, see if you have a tag to legally shoot a deer. And the animal was still alive, but it wasn't a deer. It was a mule. The residents of Broken Bow, Oklahoma, became very alarmed when they heard about this, so they started taking precautions to make sure no one accidentally shot one of their animals.
Yeah, the guy had it on his hood.
I don't know about that one.
Darren, you questioned some of my stories. I don't know why, but
Well, some of them I was there for, so I can question them. Okay.
I try not to let truth get in the way
Of a good story.
I mean, you can't allow that to happen.
All right. I was kind of enjoying my earmuffs, but it's kind of quiet. All right.
So the only thing, folks, he's going to put on is eye bolts up here towards the top, about a third from the top, and he'll put them in like we did in the other video, about approximately where that ratchet is.
Yeah.
And then he's going to he's going to move the ratchet because he's too lazy to climb a ladder up there to do it. And he's going to move it down to this second leg down here
I'm like that.
so he can reach it. He's just real picky about it.
I don't want to climb anything to use something that's going to make my life easier. Or supposed
And
to
he
make my
can't
life
get the
easier.
dog to do it for him, so I guess he'd have to be the one doing it.
Oh, no. Dogs are bad that way.
Well, that dog's pretty smart, but he beats it checkers 2 out of 3 times, so I don't know.
I don't know if that's going to work.
How did you get that brand new set of tools there, Dan?
Handy. Just appeared one day.
Okay, fess up. Harbor Freight gave them to me when I went over there and bought those shackles, so those were free, and since they were free and they wouldn't come down on the price, I gave them to Darren. Free's the cheapest they say they'd go.
You couldn't talk him down anymore?
I couldn't. And I said, well, how about giving me 2 of them then, you know?
They said you have to buy some more stuff?
Well, I could have probably got nuts and bolts and went through it several times, you know. They stare at you a lot when you do that, though. Not that I've ever done.
Not that that was something you tried.
All right. Folks, we're going to drill another hole in that and put another bolt in it. Anyway, all he's going to do is drill another hole in that, put another one right beside it to make it more secure. Okay, folks, he's getting it ready to be finished. We had to take it and do it a different way. To put the D-ring on the top instead of the bottom, because the bottom we could move around, the top we couldn't. But for some odd reason, we didn't catch it because he was so tired and I was so tired.
I got tired.
He got electrocuted twice today.
Doesn't show.
Wasn't bad or anything serious.
Just a shock. And I just get tired from it, though. Physically tired. I got that.
You take that off and then grind it. Grind it. And
Take it off. It'll go on easy. See, Dad, I was right. We should ground these.
Well, in Darren's defense, he's been underneath the house all day working on his sewer.
Had some sewer issues.
This was kind of a added treat for him here that he wasn't ready for. He likes these treats I bring up.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, why don't we film
Phil's built a
2 or 3
tripod.
hours?
A bigger, better tripod.
Just because you worked all day, no big deal.
Why? Don't even worry.
Yeah, little below zero thing. It's no thing.
Oh, most of the snow started to melt today.
You'll notice our breath is showing, folks.
Somebody in Canada is just laughing at us. You mean summer? All right.
All right, you want to hit the other end then? I'll hold it.
Let's put a bolt in it so we don't lose what we have with the
got it.
top. And then we'll go from there.
Piece of cake, man. Piece of cake.
It's just so
I
easy.
didn't know it would be this easy.
Just set it and forget it. It's just 17 easy payments of $39.99.
It's hard to find a guy to fix your shackle, you know, on moment's notice. Gonna take another whammy, Peter. Here, why don't you use this hand?
I won't mention that Dad had it and didn't hand it to me. Hand me the other one first.
I wanted to see how mental faculties were working for him, if he recognized I handed him the wrong hammer.
I think we can get this going now.
All right. Do a little hammer to it.
Folks, we're not through with it. We're going to put a winch on it. We may even put a windlass on it to drill a well. And it may look quite different than the way we started.